Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show podcast. Hello if you're new. So today's podcast is going to be a review of Glow Up Season 2, Episode 1. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on my commentary. I'm always up for a chat. I'm always up for a debate. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, give it a thumbs down. No hard feelings. So let's get into the review. So we're back for another season. I actually didn't watch season 1. I kind of just saw snippets here and there from YouTube and stuff and pictures. But I thought season 2 is coming. Let me just get into it. And then I'll probably watch season 1 back if I like this season. So the judges that were in last season are back. So we've got Dominic, we've got Val, and of course we've got Stacey Dooley back as the host. So in terms of my first impressions of the makeup artists, like just based on personality, I'd say they're all okay, but I think there's clearly some contestants that we're going to find more entertaining for others. And I think for me, the people that stood out to me and I think could possibly provide more entertainment than, let's say, the other contestants are, the first one is probably Jake. And first off, I gotta say, 19 years old. 19 years old. When it came up and it said 19 years old, I actually could not believe it. Obviously, Jake, who's got the Essex looks coming on. I've gotten used to the filler look, so it's not that much of a surprise for me. But the fillers, you know, each to their own, but the fillers are a bit much. And then don't even get me started on the nails. I don't understand why he needed to have nails that long, especially when you have to do people's makeup. But again, I guess each to their own. That's his aesthetic. But I'm not gonna lie, when I saw him, I was just like, I don't really know. I feel like he's definitely gonna be somebody who's gonna give us personality a few moments in the show. But on first impressions, I'm not really sure if he's going to be a contender. Like, the makeup that I saw was a bit basic coming in. And what I saw in the episode was a bit basic. So I definitely think Jake is going to be more personality than talent, in my opinion. But I'd be interested to hear what you guys thought of Jake based on first impressions. I think the next person that stood out for me was Brandon. He doesn't necessarily have like an out there personality, but he was just somebody that I was drawn to. And I think he definitely had a bit more camera time than everybody else. Again, 22. I was a bit surprised when they said 22. I wasn't largely impressed by his talent this episode, but I think potentially there is something there with Brandon. Another person that stood out for me was Eve, and because she just seems really fun, she seems like somebody I'd be friends with. We saw little hints here and there with Eve the first episode, but I'd be interested to see what else that she can bring. Eve could definitely be potentially someone to look out for. And James, he's a bit of a rebel. You know, he goes against the grain. I can tell he's going to cause a bit of a ruckus, I think, in terms of him being quite stubborn with his creativity. So I think he's definitely going to provide us for some entertainment. And to be fair, he did show us that he could potentially be a strong contender in this episode. I think those are the people that stood out for me, I think more personality-wise. The others, I'm not going to lie, they were a bit forgettable, but it is only week 1. Hopefully we'll get to know some of the others a bit better. Maybe we'll get a bit more screen time with them. But yeah, in terms of first impressions, who were you kind of thinking your faves were going to be? I'd be interested to know. So right in, first challenge is a JD campaign, and the contestants have been told that it's very important to stick to the brief and be able to match their makeup skills with the brand. And in terms of the creative direction they were given, they were told a healthy, natural look. Skin's supposed to look like skin, but it's also a Christmas campaign as well. So they were told to add some either silver or gold accents, and they were split into different groups. One group did the gold accents and one group did the silver accents. Now, based on first impressions, everybody's like skin/base looked pretty good. Some were looking a little bit cakey, a little bit orangey, but for the most part, everybody's skin looked fine. Then people started adding eyeshadow and stuff like that. That's when things started to get a little bit messy. I think for the gold group, for the most part, it looked like they were sticking to the brief. I was a bit skeptical about some of them, particularly Bertie, because I was kind of thinking some of these looks might be going just a bit overboard, because yes, they said gold accents, but then it's supposed to have a natural look as well, and on top of that it's a sports brand, so you don't really want to look editorial on it. I'm not sure who it was, but there was one of the girls was painting gold down one of the model's face, and when I saw that, I was just like, girl, what are you doing? I was thinking you might be in trouble, girl, because I don't know about this gold on the skin. And then we go to the silver group, and the silver group is just looking a mess. James, he basically said that he doesn't give a fuck. He's just putting blue eyeshadow on his model's eyelid, and I was just like, ooh. And it's not like it was a kind of silvery blue, like it was a bold, distinctive blue, hardly any grey. So I was just like, okay, James is going to be in trouble, but it kind of seems like he doesn't care. And I was just like, I get what you're trying to do, you're trying to rebel, you know, but I think it's a stupid decision, and in the real world, if you tried that shit, you'd be fired. So I'm not sure if I could respect that act of rebellion there. Somebody was doing like blue eyebrows on someone. I was just like, yeah, the blue team is looking a mess. Then their models have their little photo shoots, that's campaign, and the judges kind of have a little deliberation on all of the contestants' work. And overall, the gold team, all in all, did a pretty solid job. Even the person who painted the gold all down the person's neck, in real life it looked like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? But on camera it actually looked pretty cool and still kind of fit in with the sporty film. And she's lucky that it photographed well, because it definitely could have photographed really badly. My two favourite looks from the gold team would probably be, and then James's model just stuck out like a sore thumb, because all you could see was that blue eyeshadow, and I instantly knew that James was in the bottom. I thought Hannah was probably going to be in the bottom with him too. So then they revealed the winners to the group, and obviously as we know, if the director or the people involved with the JD campaign didn't like the picture or didn't like how the models looked, their campaign wasn't going to get picked up. The whole group's campaign gets picked up, and the blue team's campaign was not picked up. That's no surprise there. There's no surprise there. The models just were not, the makeup just wasn't it. And then they reveal who the winner of the challenge was, and the winner was Bertie. And I'm not mad at that win, but I think that Eve definitely should have taken the win, simply because I feel like her look was strong, and I think it actually fitted the JD look and brand the best. But what do you guys think? Do you feel like Bertie was the rightful winner, or do you think Eve should have won, or do you think somebody else from the gold team should have won, or is anybody thinking someone from the blue team should have won it? I'd be interested to know what you guys think. And then after that, we find out who is in the hot seat and could potentially be in the face-off. And it's no surprise that the bottom two people, well, for me anyway, were James and Hannah. Were any of you surprised that they were in the bottom? Or was it? But I'd be interested to know if any of you were surprised that Hannah and James were in the bottom, or whether you thought maybe somebody else should have been on it. I'd be interested to know. The format is the people that are in the face-off chair could potentially impress their way out of the hot seat if their personal challenge looks are strong. And this week's personal challenge was a makeup look that told a story of the contestants' lives, or about them, or where they're from, something along those lines. So in terms of what I thought of each person's personal look, so we'll start off with Kezia. Her look was one of the strongest looks. It was so symmetrical. I'm always amazed at how precise people can be doing stuff with their hands, because my hands could never. And she just looked so striking. Like, she looked like a mystical creature that you'd see in like a fantasy film. Next was Shanice's look, and it was okay, I guess. I got the concept, but I did think makeup wise it was a little bit basic. Then it was Bertie. Now, he had a really good concept and I could see what he was trying to do, but the execution was just a little bit sloppy. The square looked a little bit wonky. So yeah, good idea, but sloppy execution. I personally would have expected a little bit more from Bertie. Then it was James. James was another strong look. Like, I knew instantly he was going to be out of the hot seat. And it was just so interesting. And I really loved how, I think it was lashes that he put on his face to like kind of create texture to it. And again, it looked like something out of a fantasy book. It was really beautifully done. He's definitely going to be a strong contender, definitely one to watch. Then it was Eve. She looked nice, but there wasn't really a real concept there. We didn't really learn much about her. It kind of felt like she found the idea of Instagram and she just copied it. I thought it'd be strong enough to stay, but I was expecting a little bit more considering how strong her JD campaign was. Then it was Ashley. And you know what, I got the concept that she was trying to do, but I also didn't at the same time, because maybe it's because I'm a Londoner. I have no idea. London brain. I've never been to Scotland, so me trying to differentiate the difference between Glasgow and Edinburgh, I was already going to be confused anyway. And then just the illustration was just a bit sloppy. It kind of just looked like she had slapped something on her face and then drawn some illustrations here and there. And like even herself, she said like the look is not great. She can see herself in the bottom. And I was just like, at least you know, girl. Then we have Hannah's look. And it's another strong look, a striking look. She actually used prosthetics. And when she said she was using prosthetics, I was kind of just like, you must be really confident to do prosthetics knowing that you have a limited amount of time. And she had less time as well because she was in the hot seat. So I was thinking, well, this must be good if she's confident to be using up her time to do this look knowing that she already has less time. And it definitely paid off. And it's just kind of like, well, if you have all of this creativity, why didn't we see that in the JD challenge? So I think Hannah could definitely be a strong contestant to look out for. Then we have Brendan, and again, it's another kind of basic look, some illustration here and there. I just felt like it was a bit lazy, and I'm just thinking two kind of basic looks. I'm just kind of think I'm going to need a little bit more from Brendan, I think. And the judges even read him on it as well for it being a bit basic. And then we have Jake. And this was by far at least with Ashley's look was bad, but at least there was some creativity, some thought behind it. But Jake's look literally looked like it took him 10 minutes to do. It looked like he didn't even bother to wash off his old makeup. He just, topped it up a little bit, put some gold eyeshadow on, and then put some petals on his face. And I'm not even sure what this is meant to represent. And the judges were just kind of like, well, what is this meant to represent? And then one of them like called him out for why he decided to just oil up his neck. And Jake was just talking out his ass, making this excuse, trying to say that it was meant to be sweat because it was meant to be a sporty look or something of that nature. And the judges weren't having any of it. Like, they called him out, threw him out. They were like, we know you're lying. And then Jake starts crying. I was just like, really, Jake? The tears? The ones where you've been caught out in a lie, you start crying to try and soften the blow. The judges weren't having any of it. And you see when the judges weren't having any of it, how quickly them tears dried up. Jake is cheeky. He proper tried it. But yeah, I was living for that bit of entertainment. I don't think Jake is a serious candidate, to be honest. I'm not sure, but I think he's definitely going to provide us with a lot of entertaining moments like this. And then we have Ophelia, and I think Ophelia was definitely my favourite look. Like, it literally was so precise. It actually looked like a work of art, like something that you'd see in a museum. That is how much attention to detail Ophelia put into this concept. Ophelia could definitely be somebody to watch out for. So I think Ophelia was definitely my favourite look this week. But I'd be interested to hear who were your favourite looks and who were your least favourite looks. So in terms of before the verdicts, in terms of who I thought was going to be up for the face-off, I think Hannah and James definitely had done enough to be safe. So I thought the people that were going to be replacing them in the face-off was either going to be, well, definitely going to be Jake. But I think with Jake, it was either going to be, I thought, either Ashley, because, you know, her look was quite bad, and Shanice or Brendan, because even though their looks were okay, it was a bit basic and wasn't necessarily executed the best despite being basic as well. So that's who I kind of predicted should have been in the bottom. And then obviously it's revealed that the people that are going to be facing off are Jake and Ashley. And I think that was definitely the right decision. I think we can all agree that Jake deserved to be in the bottom, but do you think Ashley should have been in the bottom with him? I'd be interested to know. And if you don't think Ashley should have been in the bottom with him, who should have been in the bottom with him instead? So going into the face-off, I'm not going to lie, I kind of thought possibly Jake could be the first person to go, just because of what we had seen. I think with Ashley, at least we had seen something in the JD challenge. So I kind of just thought Jake was going to be out. And then, of course, we learned that the face-off challenge is going to be an ombre lip. And then I was kind of thinking, well, that could be anyone's game, because ombre lip is fairly easy to do. So the clock starts, and instantly I knew Jake was going to win it, because I don't know what the hell Ashley was thinking doing with this reverse ombre. Fair enough if they had half an hour or 20 minutes, if they had 20 minutes or half an hour to do it, but they literally had 10 minutes. So I just feel like, I'm not sure if Ashley had even done an ombre lip before, but, you know, as soon as she started doing it, I was just like, this is going to be terrible. And the colour that she picked to do her reverse ombre as well, it was just a dark purple. And I was like, if this goes wrong, there's literally no coming back from this. Like, maybe it would have been better if it was like a red or something, but something so close to black, I was just like, yeah, Ashley's going home. And what do you know? Ashley went home. So she basically just handed Jake the win. The judges said that both of their ombres were on par with each other, but I think Jake's ombre was pretty decent. I don't really think ombre lips are really that hard to do. I think Jake's ombre lip was pretty decent in my opinion. But yeah, if there's anything that I'm missing, please let me know. I feel like he was clearly the winner. But obviously they sent Ashley home, and she goes. I didn't really have much of a connection to her for me to really feel happy or sad or anything about her leaving. But, you know, we wish her the best. She does seem like a nice girl, so I wish her the best with her makeup endeavours. But I am not going to lie, I didn't want Jake to go, because I feel like he's going to bring a lot to this show in terms of entertainment. But yeah, that's pretty much the wrap up for this podcast. I'd be interested to hear what you thought about this episode, what you thought about the contestants, what you thought about the looks, what you thought about the judges' critiques. And yeah, I'd be interested to hear what you thought about my commentary as well. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have, don't forget to press that notification bell. I'm almost at 1.3 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate if you help me get to my next short-term goal. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to put your notification bell on, so you'll know when the next review is dropping. Till next time, guys. Bye.